Hey there, Dr. Royer here. Just wanted to just do an overview for a lot of you out there that are training and doing such a great job. Want to let you know you're not alone. We just calculated between Inner Armor and Royer Neuroscience, we're running close to 2,000 sessions a week. So you're actually part of an army of people that are trying to optimize their brain and body. And we are so excited to see all the hard work you're putting in. And just want you to know we're here if you have questions. We've really done a big update to the Royer Neuroscience resources section, just over 70 to 80 videos there of all kinds of things. Strongly recommend. And then we've been doing this masterclass series for Joe Gibbs Racing, NASCAR, that we do once a month. And that's been being filmed and all kinds of great content. Strongly recommend that you go there. But just want to review for you to just kind of encourage you a little bit as you go is that you remember we might have these behaviors or these thoughts or feelings that we're working on that are downstream, but the only way to get ultimate change in these things is to work upstream on the brain and the body. And we kind of divide that into two main sections. Is we first have to improve the intake of the resource that we get energy from. And most of that comes from oxygen. 85% of the electricity that runs this entire brain and body comes from oxygen. That's why we're such sticklers on get the consistency and the rate right. And once you've passed through those gates, don't stop doing that. Keep working on that because it's so important, not just for today, but for your long-term investment into your brain. So we're always working on upstream to make permanent downstream changes. And just wanted to review a couple things here in relation to your autonomic nervous system. So we're trying to enhance the base of your autonomic nervous system. So many people, they live in a situation where any little thing kind of gets them out of kilter because they don't have a strong base. And our base starts with breathing, then heart coherence, then theta ratios in the brain, and high beta ratios. And when we can build that base, then what happens is it becomes wider, and that wider base keeps us from tilting from environmental experiential stressors. We're able to keep the autonomic nervous system balanced. So everything we're working on is building your autonomic nervous system base. Okay. Just a few things, just in case you probably haven't seen these before. We did a major research project a few years back for a large insurance company, and we looked at a bunch of different variables. And I ran across these the other day, and they're just still so amazing to see that this happens when you do breathing. So everything in white that has these numbers are different things that would decrease your blood pressure from this person being a 136. So if you took salt out, would take you to 131, did daily exercise, 129, this very restrictive DASH diet, 125, a medicine, 126, 22-pound weight loss. That's still a lot of weight to 123. So you get 13-point drop in systolic. But get this, doing the breathing and neurofeedback, 115 is the drop from a 136 just by doing that and not doing those other things. Those things are good and important, but it speaks to how important the autonomic nervous system impacts these things. So it takes somebody from a 55% cardiovascular risk category to a 10% risk. This is a great study. I strongly recommend that you read this at some point. We also mentioned this in the book Tsunami. Three books, if you haven't read them, that Amy and I have put together: Forge Your Inner Armor, Tsunami, which is about anxiety and depression, and Extinguishing Einstein, which is actually my favorite. I love that book. Those three books, if you don't have those or you'd like to get those, let us know. But this is a study we did back in 2017, 2018, where we looked at clinically depressed and anxious people, 183, so not just a small number, 183 clinically anxious and depressed people. And we were able to see the anxious group go from clinical to normal, 82% of the group. The depressed people went from clinical to normal, 81%. That's not Prozac, Cymbalta, Wellbutrin. That is breathing, heart rate, and neurofeedback. We're building resilience upstream, not chemically altering. This was another follow up a couple years later in 2019, where we also looked at the impact on ADHD and clinical improvement for adults were right around 80% and children 64%. This is no medicine. This is changing the brain and body. Fantastic in applied psychophysiology and biofeedback in 2019. This is all the same stuff that you're doing, building that resilience. And then we've talked about this one a number of times, but this is the study out of HeartMath with breathing and heart coherence for 15,000 people over 12 weeks. And we see these similar results just with the breathing. We're not even talking about neurofeedback here. Those other two studies were a combination of breathing and neurofeedback. 24% improvement in focus, 30% improvement in sleep, 38% improvement in calm, and then a decrease in anxiety by 46%, decrease in fatigue by 48%, and decrease in 56% for depression. So all of that to say, great work. You're doing great, great work. And you may not have one of these particular disorders per se, and those are downstream impact. But because we're strengthening the upstream for today, we're also impacting the future and where your long-term investment will be many, many years from now. And all of this work, the day in and day out that you do, is going to pay huge dividends for you because your truly greatest asset that you have is your brain. And you could not invest in anything more important than your brain. We're here. If you need resources, go to the Royer Neuroscience videos. Get one of the books. If you want us to, we'll send you the book. Just let us know. And always, if you have questions, please let me know because we want to help you. Okay? Great. It is a pleasure having you in the program.